Plan reading for field engineers in construction, step-by-step guide. In this video, I'm going to take you through a guide on how a field engineer will approach studying drawings. Now, before I begin, I want you to know that some people want, here's how you read architectural drawings and structural drawings and these specific types of details. We have that, and it is on our mural boards that we have on our website. Actually, you can get that course specifically, and it's all free on YouTube, for field engineers, foremen, and supers. It's on all of our boards, and I can actually link that to you in the description below. But this video is going to tell you how to approach it, and if you follow this guide, you are going to be successful. Now, if you're like, hey, why does Jason think he can talk about this? Let me tell you, there was already an initial program, but I rewrote and developed the most current version of the Hensel Phelps Field Engineer Program, the lift drawing manual, the instructions and videos on how to read drawings, and training field engineers throughout the United States was something I used to do. So I know something about this, and I know a lot about field engineering. In addition to Kate Schroeder and Brandon Montero, we are updating the 4th version of Construction Surveying and Layout by Wes Crawford, and it should be out very soon. We're just adding a 9th chapter to the book Rewrite, otherwise we would be done. And so let me give you this pattern that I think you will love. First of all, when you're talking about field engineering, we can't talk about field engineering and drawings without lift drawings. In this 20 video series, we are going to cover lots of topics, and I'll get into this in detail. But a lift drawing, sometimes people don't know what I'm talking about. Well, if you have architectural drawings, you have structural drawings, and mechanical, electrical, plumbing, which are not looped together. I'm just doing it right here. Let's say you're in a laboratory and you have your lab equipment drawings, right? You've got drawings everywhere. You want to build a single wall. And a lift drawing basically says, okay, hey, we're going to go build this one wall with this footing. Oh, my perspective is not that bad on this one. So we're going to go build this wall, but instead of having drawings for that wall be in a bunch of different locations, we're going to pull information over from all of these drawings, and that's the field engineer's job. And we are going to one piece flow put that wall lift drawing, all of the relevant information on one page if you can, but on one lift drawing that may be multiple pages, so that the craft workers and foremen can build it in the field and have everything that they need. Now, there are craft workers and foremen that don't need this, but here's the point, and we'll cover this later. A field engineer must know this, and it's the best way to force the reading and understanding of drawings. And we also are trying to find problems. Scott Berg at Hensel Phelps used to say to me, if we can't draw it, we can't build it. And it also provides a nice drawing. In fact, one of these days, if we want to get design teams working in a better flow, we will not provide drawings by system and by discipline in a package. We will have them designed by placement or by station or by zone or by assembly if we're doing like some kind of prefabricated advanced work packaging assembly. Just in case you're like, Jason, what did he just say? Designers would design their systems like in Revit, but they would publish drawings by zone, by station, or by assembly. If we ever want to get to a really good point where we have really great quality, we will do that. Because the design team in the industry doesn't work that way, field engineers do this. We must research these drawings to get to a lift drawing. So when I have a set of drawings, and by the way, do not fear printing these out. The whole concept of completely paperless is completely bogus. We should be paperless when we need to be paperless, and we should print from sustainable resources when we need to. For me, my brain will not fit into a screen. I need to have these printed out many times. Don't be afraid of that. It's complete garbage. I don't know how people came up with that. If you have your drawing set, the first thing that you're going to do is study the front matter. And you have heard me talk about this before, but I want you to be very disciplined with this, please. I want you to dig in and look at the abbreviations and get familiar. This is basically a language. It's just like I bought a book the other day, How to Learn Japanese in 60 Days. There's no different. How to learn construction drawings in 60 days. This is your Rosetta Stone for your spoken language to learn what the designer's language is, right? Then you're going to look at the general notes. Now, I'm going to give you some tips here. When I used to say read the general notes, I felt guilty because you got to go get some caffeine, a cup of coffee, I shouldn't joke around, but if I'm joking and being playful, but like you got to do something to pay attention because this is really boring. But nowadays you can grab your phone and an app called Speechify and just take a picture and it'll read it to you. And what you're going to go through is go through and understand what general notes apply to anything that might be in what you're researching, and specifically that might apply to your lift drawing. In case you're like, yeah, I love Jason, he looks like Brad Pitt, but I'm not doing that. I just want you to know, massive project in the Northeast, didn't read this, didn't know that as they were going up the building, they had to be a certain amount of levels down in their basement and the excavation and their placement rhythm, and they blew their schedule by 6 months, and it was a massive problem. And that was in the general notes. You've got to read them. So pull out things that are applicable. The other thing is the typical details. The typical details will govern the rest of everything that you see. Everything else is specific, but it will reference back and anchor to the general notes and the typical details. Then, what I want you to do when you're studying plans is go to the plan view. And I've never drawn this before, so this video is a little bit better. But if you have a plan view, and like let's say this is the outline of your slab on grade or something, and you see a detail in here, I would say go to that detail, okay? And go look at the associated page where that detail points to. Like let's maybe say this is like a wall section and here's the slab on grade or something like that, and then here's the actual cut section. Go ahead and research all this, and then you can highlight it or put a check mark, and then highlight this or put a check mark, and then move to your next detail. And you start tracing the details, and then you'll start to go from a 2D to a 3D representation of the building. You'll really understand it. So this is great. And then once you start going through your plan view, like I said, trace details. This is one of the best things because in your brain, you start to think and see the building in 3D. And I know that we have building information modeling, but this is a skill we want everyone to have. It's absolutely crucial. The other thing is, I'm going to write this as eat the frog. If you've ever heard of this concept, it says if you have this big nasty thing you got to do in a day, eat the frog first at the beginning of the day, or else you'll keep procrastinating. Let me tell you something I hate. As I get older, I take all kinds of supplements to keep me healthy. Should I eat better and not need supplements? Absolutely. But I take all kinds of supplements and stuff, and I hate it. And if I wait, I won't do it in the day. So I just got to eat that frog, in this case, pills, right at the beginning. And what I mean by this is there's other things like the mechanical, electrical, plumbing drawings, which are harder to understand than architectural or structural. Or you're going to go research the one line, the single line diagram for the electrical, or you're going to go research the flow diagram for your HVAC system or your hydronic piping system. These are things you need to know, and you can't just be like, oh, I know architectural and structural, and avoid eating the frog. Go eat the frog and get familiar with these because you need to understand those as well. And then the last thing that I would say, ask questions when you have them. There is no exception to this. Trade partners love answering your questions and being the subject matter expert. So you've got to take this approach if you ever want to understand it or be able to draw it so you can build it. I'll put this into a blog post. It will become a chapter in a book. And then also, we're going to link you to the specific lessons. So if you want to know how do you specifically read architectural drawings or structural or a single line diagram, there's a video for each one of those that we'll put in the description below. But this is the general approach, and I do want you to know the owner pays us to know how to read drawings. This is a core skill. If we don't have it, we're brokers and we're not builders, and I recommend that you study this 20-30 minutes a day so that you're always familiar and always out ahead. One other thing, don't ever scale dimensions from the drawings, and don't ever assume. If it's not on the drawings, our legal precedent for this is you must write an RFI and receive a response and post it to the drawings. We never assume, we do not design through the submittal, and we do not guess, and we do not scale dimensions. If it ain't on here, don't go out and try and build it that way. You'll get yourself in trouble. The drawings are our base. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.